Welcome back. Yeah, it's live from WRUE in Tennessee. Well, it's a scribbling woman.
Hi, I'm Nancy Rue. I am a scribbling woman, and so are you. And that's why we're having this conversation. Here, we talk about the writerly life that is unique to you, no matter your age, your season, or where you are in your creative journey, even if you don't think you have one yet. You are now an official scribbly, so let's talk. If you've ever worked or are familiar with a 12-step program, you know that steps 4 through 10 are all focused on how messed up you are and what you need to do about it. I mean, that kind of makes sense since addiction does come from a messed up place. I found that out in Workaholics Anonymous. It was extremely beneficial. I needed to become aware of how much I'd shortchanged my family and myself, and ironically, even my work, and why. But holy crow, I came out of that feeling like I was the worst mother, wife, and friend ever. I considered myself one big old walking unkept promise. I was like Gumby. I was so stretched. Mea culpa, mea culpa, mea freaking culpa. Me being me, I couldn't stay in that cage, constantly bludgeoning myself. But I didn't want to go back to smothering my wounded places with work either. I'm convinced that it was by the grace of God that around that time I saw the movie Rocket Man, the true story of rock genius Elton John. At the end of the film, while the credits are rolling, there's music that took my hand and said, let's go a little deeper. Only this time, let's carry a lantern. The song, I'm Gonna Love Me Again. We'll come back to that in a minute. First, let's consider what the Sam Hill this has to do with writing. This is the 4th episode in our series on deepening our writerly lives. Today, we'll consider this. Going deep doesn't have to mean going dark, and definitely not staying in the dark. Beneath the wounds that misshaped us and the characters we write about is a priceless gem. Under all the mess lies the true person, and they are us, and they are our protagonists. When we self-explore and when we write from that journey, we're in essence digging for treasure. I'm not making this up. Thomas Merton called it the virgin point. Albert Camus describes it as the buried sun. Richard Rohr refers to it as the immortal diamond. It is the pure us, divinely created and placed in our souls. It's always there, even when the detritus of life has been heaped on top of it. Just to be clear, I do not believe in original sin, in the basic depravity of humanity. I can't get on board with that. Yeah, evil can cut to the root of the good. We've seen that throughout history. We're seeing some of that now. But the good is there. So, grab a portable light source, a candle, a lantern, a flashlight, a headlamp, and let's go searching for treasure. This quest will take us to the very soul of our writing. If we use the metaphor of the diamond, thank you, Father Richard, the light will reveal facets of our work we may not have known existed. We'll talk about 4 of those facets. And just parenthetically, I think of my gem as a ruby, Rueby. Okay, our first facet. The stuff we dig through is false stuff. It's junk, it's garbage. Your protagonist may behave with jealousy, or jump on anything that moves, or brag ad nauseum, or pretend to be meek. But digging deeper, as we talked about in our last episode, we get to the wounds that caused those inauthentic patterns in our characters. But if we shine our lanterns behind all that, there's the truth, the facet of veracity, the person they were meant to be. There's the glint of pure passion, the shine of a huge capacity for love, the shimmer of confidence, of courage. And the protagonist says, there you are, self. Where have you been all this time? It's a lot like running into someone at a reunion, someone y'all were kids together and you haven't seen since then. At first, they seem to have changed completely. Maybe they've got some jowls going on, some white hair or no hair. You detect a hint of bitterness or resignation or something jaded. But if you hang out with them long enough over coffee or glasses of wine, you see it. The old twinkle of mischief, the glow of innocence that has faded but not totally disappeared. That's what it is to discover the diamond in your character. It's beautiful, but it isn't strange. It's been there all along. As we write, we take our protagonist, or in the case of narrative nonfiction, our reader, through the muck, behind the pain, and find the truth, the veracity. That is the crux of the story. Now let's turn that diamond slightly to see the second facet. Because the real story doesn't end there, it begins there. This is where we give that treasure life. What will our character do with this tiny treasure now? Keeping it hidden serves no one. It's kind of like the end of the first Indiana Jones movie. I mean, seriously. Do we discover that we have a natural wisdom but still carry on like a ditz? Our only authentic choice is for our protagonist to bring that diamond to the surface. However small it is, however rough, now the story has a pulse. It has vitality. Does that previously jealous but now purely passionate character rise to defend his lover rather than isolate her? Does that former braggart turned quietly confident woman come out ready to create a team? Does that once timid little wife who's discovered innate courage emerge to leave the abusive partner? The energy to do that comes from within, from the place where you, the writer, use the diamond to empower. That is the heartbeat of the story. That is its vitality. Turning the diamond just slightly in another direction, we see our third facet. Because this is all awesome for our character and their circle. Holding up the diamond for everyone to see encourages anybody who struggles with insecurity and fear and social pressure. Even if we never state a message directly in a fictional piece, and please promise me that you won't, the story we tell can shape a vision. It can inspire. It can tease out the immortal diamond in anyone. That doesn't happen when the writing is preachy, when it clearly has an agenda, when we tie everything up in a simplistic little bow. It does happen when we weave a tale of a character holding up that diamond to whoever will recognize it, whoever will be changed by it. Think what can happen in a reader who witnesses your once jealous protagonist using a glint of innate unconditional love to support his lover's dreams. Consider the impact on a reader when your formerly braggadocious protagonist discovers authentic humility and unselfishly sacrifices her position to save someone else's. Ponder what it might mean to a reader when your confrontation-avoiding protagonist picks up that half carrot of courage and leads other abused women to freedom. Those are the books I want to read. Please tell me you'll write them. One more turn of the diamond to our fourth and final facet. You know what happens when we make the authentic journey and uncover the diamond in a protagonist? We naturally discover our voice. I know from my own experience that my words flow most naturally when my protagonist is telling someone or a group of someone's, this is who I am. When the character turns away from an old pattern and does something so true, it's as if that has always been the way, because it has. When all the other characters stare, jaws dropped, and ask, who is this person? Maybe your writing voice is quiet and understated, but unassailable. Perhaps it's quirky and funky and riddled with creative profanity, but unmistakably accurate. It might be lyrical and mesmerizing, and at the same time, exquisitely clear. You'll know it when it arises from your pen or your keyboard. It'll be like an old friend speaking from the small treasure trove you've found in your protagonist. I believe this all starts with our own journeys. We can only pursue our creativity in this way if we stop thinking of ourselves or anyone else as intrinsically flawed or irreparably damaged. This only happens when we consider those facets, our own veracity, our own vitality, our own vision, our own voice. So let's find our virgin points, our buried suns, our one-of-a-kind rubies. Then we can write through the layers to work that shines a light on everyone's diamonds. I try to carry the lantern in all the places. So if you need some light to get you going, visit the website, www.nancyrue.com, where you can explore the books, find out how to become part of the Scribbling Women online community, participate in the discussions on Facebook and Footnotes newsletter on Substack, because together, Scribblies, we are a whole diamond mine. And meanwhile, put on your headlamp and scribble on.